welcome to Lesson 5 in Module 3. Again, leveraging the Facebook toolset. Today we're going to be talking all about building ads. We'll start out with a brief overview of today's lesson and then we'll jump into building your ads. So, Facebook Ads 101. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to understand all the various elements inside of your ads. Now, what you see on Facebook is made up of a number of different things that you'll have to put into your actual ad when you build it. We'll go through each one of those. We're going to do a live demonstration of building your ads. We're going to look at the different ways that you can select images, and then finally we'll look at publishing your ads. At the very end of the lesson, we'll tie up with a couple additional details. First of all, let's examine all of the different elements inside of your Facebook ads. Here's an ad that I built as a demonstration that we're going to use today. Now, as you can see, this is from my page Anatomy, and you can see the text here. I follow the pattern, preparation, and pitch format that we talked about in the Anatomy ad lesson. Thinking of hiring an ad agency to run your ad campaigns? Don't. That's pattern interrupt. Having learned ads for my own business and generating 3,000% ROIs on my own, I learned that running profitable Facebook ads isn't something most digital marketers need to pay a premium for. This week, I'm offering a free download of my guide, 3 reasons you don't need an ad agency, the simple 3-step path to profitable DIY Facebook ads. You'll learn the exact process I use to consistently generate high converting campaigns on your own. Click here to register and to download, and you see my bit.ly link. Below that, you see an image I've selected. Below that, the headline, download 3 steps to profitable DIY ads. Finally, you see a little bit of text, the call to action, and the link preview. Well, when you go into Power Editor or Ads Manager to build your ad, you're going to need to understand what every single one of these is called so you know what you're putting into your ads. The first thing, obviously, is your page name. If you manage multiple different pages, you'll always need to make sure you select the one that you want to advertise from. And of course, you can see the sponsored icon next to that, notifying people in their news stream that this is an advertisement. Next, here's the ad text. The next thing after the ad text is the ad image. This is the traditional ad format with just a single image, but you do have other options we'll look at here in a little bit. Now, directly beneath the ad image appears the ad headline. It's almost a little bit counterintuitive that the headline appears so far down inside the ad, but when you go to type your ad headline in, it's going to appear right here. It is the biggest font size on the entire page, so I always try to put something really powerful in my ad headline. Now, you can test out all sorts of ad headlines, and I know we talked about this inside of the Anatomy module, but I prefer to take a very simplistic and very deliberate approach to writing this headline. I want to fit all of the core principles that I want to communicate inside of here: download, the name of my lead magnet, and obviously the topic that I'm addressing. Next, you'll see this newsfeed link text description. Now, by default, Facebook is going to look at your landing page, take the copy from that, and push it in there. But you do have the option to put your own copy in there, and I highly recommend it. Now, we cover the format for writing the newsfeed link description in the Anatomy lesson, but a couple things to note here. The main thing I want to do with this link description is to add a little element of suspense. I want to make sure I put some really good keywords in there. Of course, digital marketers, that's the first thing in that first line there. We're talking about Facebook advertising, that also appears there. I re-reference my guide, and then finally I have the ellipsis to finish it. Always put your ellipsis in the middle of a sentence to where people are wondering what comes after that. It's also important to note that depending on the ad format you choose, you may not have quite as much room as you see right here. This is a desktop ad preview, and if you run this on mobile, you'll have a lot less space here, so keep that in mind when you're writing your copy here, because if you're running mobile ads, you'll have a lot less text, and you'll want to make sure that the really important, powerful stuff appears at the very top of the newsfeed link description. The next thing we see here is a Facebook call to action button. And we'll look at the different options available to you, but if you do choose to use a call to action button, make sure you choose one and don't just use the default. The default option is always going to say learn more. The last thing we see here is the display URL. This is another field that Facebook's automatically going to populate for you. A lot of landing page builders use what we call subdomains, which basically is a little bit of prefix text before the actual URL name. Now, if the default option that they give you looks a little bit funny, just know that you can go in there and change it to a different type of URL. Now, as you can see, I've put another call to action and I've said click to download. Might look a little bit different because I do have periods between the different words in click to download. And that's because Facebook has recently made it to where you have to put a URL in there, or at least they want you to. We can get around this for the time being by putting periods between our words, but at some point if that's unavailable, you may just want to put in your actual URL, whatever your pagename.com. Well, now I want to take you into a live demo. We're going to build this actual ad together and we're going to use Power Editor to do it. So let's roll up our sleeves and dive right into Power Editor. So we're inside of Power Editor here and we're working at the ad level. On the left-hand side, you can see the campaign, the ad set, and finally the ads. We've already chosen our campaign objective, we've already defined our audience and our bidding, and now we're inside the ad level actually creating the ad itself. The first thing you're going to see here is the ad name. I would recommend coming up with some sort of conventions to name your ads so that it makes sense to you when you're looking at an overview of them. What I always do is put the device type first. You can see I just have D. That stands for desktop. The next thing I have is agency, no text. And that's the name of the image I'm going to use here. The next thing I've written is copy 1, and that just indicates the ad copy that I've written is the first instance of it. If I were to have written multiple different copy sets for this, I would name the next one copy 2. And then finally I have DM here. That designates the audience that I'm targeting. I'm targeting digital marketers audience in this case. There's no right or wrong way to name your ads, so you can come up with whatever convention you want, but by doing it this way, I can look directly into my reporting and see which ads are performing to certain audiences, which images are pulling, what copy is pulling, just by looking at the title. The next thing you'll have to select is a destination. Now later on, we'll have to choose our actual page destination, but right here, the destination we're talking about is which page you're advertising on behalf of. And of course, in this instance, I have anatomy. If you manage multiple different pages, you'll see them in a drop down that appears below. Always make sure to check that you've got the correct page selected here. Now I'm not running this on Instagram, but if I were, you could choose your placement down below for that. Now on the right hand side, we see the ad ID that Facebook has automatically generated, and it shows that this ad is active. If you were to click off of that, that would make the ad inactive. You also see that it says fix one error in your ad. It's because I haven't put a website URL in there, and we're going to fix that coming up here in a little bit. You'll also see a preview below here, and Facebook will automatically update this as we make changes to the ad. The next thing we need to select is the creative for our ad. And you have a couple different options here. You can choose an ad with an image or a video, or you could select what they call the carousel images. Now as you can see, the preview has changed to the carousel format, and they've automatically put some placeholder images in here. Now carousel images can be a cool thing to use because you can actually create a different destination for every single one of these images. If you had multiple different products, you could take somebody to a specific page depending on the image that they select. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to choose an ad that has a single ad image. It does show you the recommended size of your images down here, 1000 by 667. And there's a few different ways that you can get images into here. So let's go ahead and select change image. Now as you can see, they've automatically pulled up a library of images that I've uploaded before. But you do have two additional options. You can upload new images, or you can select from their stock images. Rather than having to purchase all of your stock images from a third party, you can actually get almost every single Shutterstock image directly through the Facebook ad builder here. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can enter some sort of keyword, search for that keyword. They'll give you the different options here, and you can select whatever image you want. You also have the option to upload your own images. Of course, you can drag and drop them in here, or you can just tap in this box and it'll pull up a dialog where you can select it from your hard drive. Now I've already uploaded the images for this example, so we're going to go back into image library here. I have two similar images that I want to test right here, so I'm going to choose the one with no text and go ahead and put it in the ad. If you were to have selected an image that isn't the proper dimensions, you can crop it with this tool here. Now the next thing we need to do is to put our website URL in here. By default, it has my homepage of my website in here, but I have a sample page that I've created that we're going to use. So you can go right here, copy your URL, go back into Power Editor, and just paste that in this place. Now you can see now that I've pasted this in here, they did change the preview URL to reflect the domain of the page that I've selected. Just know that further down inside the builder, you will have the option to change that. Another option you have here is Canvas. If you're not familiar with Canvas, Canvas is basically a landing page alternative that Facebook will actually give you. This is something that's only been rolled out in the last 6 months or so, but it's a tool that Facebook is encouraging people to use. They load very quickly, they're native inside of Facebook, and they look really slick. I will tell you that the builder for the canvas itself isn't super intuitive, so if you have a landing page builder alternative, I would suggest using that for the time being. Just know that you can play around, create your own canvas, and use that as your destination instead of a landing page if you'd rather. The next thing we'll see on this page is the display URL. This is an optional field, so you can leave it blank if you'd like, or we can put in our alternative call to action like we talked about. If you'd prefer, you can put your page URL in here as well. The next thing in the ad builder is we need to put our ad text in. Rather than making you watch me type it all out here, I do have it copied. I'm going to go ahead and select it and just paste it right in. Now, if you're building your ads inside of Ads Manager, you might have a little bit of trouble trying to get the separation that I have with my paragraph breaks. It's much easier to do this inside of Power Editor because they have a little bit more tolerance for allowing both for the length of the text overall and the line separations with the hard returns. An important thing to know is if you have too much text in here, it will start to be abbreviated. To demonstrate that, I'm just going to copy the same text in here a second time, and it'll be too much text to be displayed all at once. And when this happens, you can see the See More button appears below the ad text. And in this particular instance, it even is giving us less ad text than we had to start with. I do most of my copywriting outside of the ad building tool, but it's really important once you take your copy and put it into this section to pay attention how much space you really have. And as you can see, by deleting it, now we have the full ad text that appears without the See More button. The next thing we'll need to put in is our headline. Now you'll see that they've got a portion of this highlighted in orange telling us that it's too long. Now if this were a mobile ad, I would be concerned about it being abbreviated, but as you can see, I've got the live desktop preview over here and it all appears on the first line. This is another advantage to using Power Editor because inside of Ads Manager, sometimes it won't even allow you to put additional text in here. Inside of Power Editor, as a general rule of thumb, as long as it's appearing in the preview over here, it's going to look like this when the ad actually gets published. Now, as you can see, the newsfeed link description has already been populated with copy from my landing page. If you look at the landing page, you can see a little bit of text here. They've automatically grabbed that text and put it into here to the newsfeed link description. Even though it doesn't appear over here in this box, we can simply paste in our own copy and it'll get replaced with what we want to actually appear. Finally, scrolling down here, you'll see the different call to action selections that we have. Now, the default option here is typically learn more. In this instance, because I'm giving away a lead magnet, I'm going to use the download button. This is something I would encourage you to test. If you're selling something on Facebook and you choose the buy now button, that is going to create some sort of buying resistance. We do have an entire lesson set aside for testing different variables inside of your campaign. But I'll just tell you right now, I would always suggest using different call to action buttons and testing those ads separately. You might see that your click-through rate is lower when you use the buy now call to action, and you might be unnecessarily damaging the performance of your ad. It could be that by leaving the button off altogether or by choosing something a little bit less aggressive like learn more, you can easily increase your click-through rate. The last option on the page has to do with tracking. Now this is a clicks to website campaign, so it didn't default to using my pixel, but I did tell it I want you to track my conversions with my Facebook pixel. Even though I'm not using a clicks to website campaign, this will allow me to add a column in my performance report that does show the conversions, even though I'm not running a conversion campaign in this instance. If you're not concerned about conversions, you can always select this option that says do not track conversions. That's really as simple as building an ad inside of Power Editor is. You always want to make sure that your website URL is correct, and if you do use a bit.ly link inside of your ad text, that those are correct. But after you verify that those are accurate, this ad is ready to go. Now, I mentioned earlier that I want to test two different images with the same ad text and the same audience. Doing this inside of Power Editor is very, very simple. I'm going to show you that right now. Just go back to the ad set level. And here's the ad set with the ad that we just created inside of it. What you can do inside of Power Editor is select this duplicate button and it'll automatically make a copy. Now I'm going to keep this inside of the same campaign, but you could create another campaign if you wanted to. So as you can see now, it duplicated both the ad set and the ad because the ad was inside of that ad set. Now, the only thing I'm going to change here is the image. So I'm going to say instead of agency no text, I'm going to say agency with text. And I'm going to copy this ad set name so that I can use it inside of the ad as well. Just click back into the ad level and you'll see the second one appears right here. To edit it, select the pencil on the far right hand side and then just copy in that ad set name here. Now all I need to do is swap out my image. And in this instance, I'm going to use this image with ad text on it. So you can see a new preview of the same ad with the new image inside of it. It's very important to know that when you're building an ad and you're using an image that has text on the image, you want to make sure you stay inside of Facebook's guidelines for how much copy you can actually put inside of your ad. Now, sometimes inside of Ads Manager, they will show you a preview of how Facebook's going to grade your ad image. In Power Editor, it's not going to automatically show that to you, so you're going to want to make sure you use the text overlay tool to see if your image is appropriate. Now, as you can see, I've already run this particular image through the image text check tool. All you have to do is select upload, choose the image from your desktop, and upload it into the overlay tool. Facebook's going to give it a rating based on how much text you have on the image. In this particular instance, the very first one that says your ad will run normally appears, so this image is fine to use for this particular ad. Now, if you had too much text, you're going to start getting higher up on the scale. And as you can see, Facebook's going to impact the reach of your ad if you have too much text. As you get higher and higher up on the scale, it's going to impact the performance of your ad more and more. I would never recommend doing anything other than the green checkbox. Now in the resources below this video, you will see a link to this specific page so that you can easily get there and check to make sure you don't have too much text on your images. Now let's say I also want to run a mobile version of this same ad. All I have to do is duplicate the ad set again, choose the same campaign. I'm going to update my naming convention so I know that this is a mobile ad. And then in the ad set level, I'm going to scroll down and choose a different placement. I'm going to select the mobile placement. And Facebook is automatically going to say you're not only on mobile, but you're also on Instagram mobile, and you're actually in the audience network on mobile as well. Now, I don't want those other two, so I'm going to deselect Instagram. I'm going to deselect the audience network. And as you can see, the only place this is going to appear is inside of the mobile view on Facebook. So now I'm going to select the ad set name that I've used. I'll go back down to the ad level, and I'll paste that same name into the advertisement. Now, as you can see, the preview for the ad has changed considerably now. The newsfeed link description doesn't appear anywhere, the headline gets split into 2 lines because this button gets pushed up, and there's even less text that gets displayed. Now, if you want to, you can edit your copy so it looks different on mobile than it does on desktop. In this particular instance, I'm going to leave it as it is. And the last thing I'm going to do is create another mobile version with my other image so that I can have a true test here. So I'll go ahead and select the mobile one we just created. I'll duplicate it. Of course, keep the same campaign. I'll update the name so we know this is the one that does not have text on the image. Copy this name, go back to the ad level. It's automatically selected by default, so we'll just go in here and edit it. Paste the new name down here, and all we have to do is swap out our images. I'll give a more thorough overview of how you should structure your campaigns and test various ads in another lesson. But as you can see, we have eliminated a lot of the variables, allowing us to dedicate a specific budget to every one of these ads, knowing specifically who the audience is, what the device type is, and what image we're using. This is really important because now I can kick these ads off. I might see that only my mobile ads are pulling. I can shut off both the desktop ones. I might even see that one mobile ad is outperforming the other because we have different images in those 2 ads. So I can easily deselect the one and scale up the budget on the other one. And once this campaign goes live in the next 24 hours, we'll be able to see a very distinct difference between the performance of these 4 different ads we've created because we've done a really good job of isolating the various variables, ensuring that we have maximum delivery to exactly the device type with exactly the same image that we want. I do not suggest putting multiple images inside of the same ad. If you do that, Facebook is going to indiscriminately choose which ad gets displayed, and you'll lose 100% control over where your money is being spent. Well, now that we've got this campaign ready, we can click Review Changes and publish the ad. I want to finish this lesson with some miscellaneous ad building tips. Now, once you select Go Live and you actually publish your campaign, your ads will go through the Facebook ad approval process. Now, they tell you this is going to take about 24 hours. More often than not, it's going to take only a few minutes. It's important to know that your landing page is also going to get scrubbed through this approval process. We won't get into the terms and condition of Facebook's advertising policy right now, but I do want to encourage you, make sure you watch the Facebook ad compliance lesson before you publish any ads. If you were to publish an ad that doesn't meet Facebook's ad compliance policies, your ads could become disabled and it could even impact the status of your advertising account. It's important to know though that if your ad is disapproved, it may not actually be a problem with the ad at all. It could be something that you're saying on your landing page. The ad approval process examines both the ad and the landing page associated with your ad. It's also important to know that if you were to schedule your ads instead of publishing them live like we just did, your ads are going to be reviewed as soon as you click publish, even if they're not scheduled to go live for a couple of days. What this means is that ad approval process will take place between the time you publish and the time that your ads go live, and your ad should actually go out as scheduled. There shouldn't be any delay because that ad approval process will have taken place before the ad actually gets live. It can take some time for your ads to begin being delivered once they've actually been approved. So when you go into Ads Manager or into Power Editor and it says active, you might not see delivery for your ads for a little bit of time. I always encourage people to wait at least 24 hours before analyzing any ad performance. Finally, always launch multiple ads. Your chance of success is much higher if you give yourself more ways to win. In the example we just did, we chose 2 different placement types, we had 2 different ad images, and that gave us 4 different ads inside of 4 different ad sets. By doing it this way, I'm going to spend a little bit more money up front, but I'm going to know on day 1 exactly which image and which placement type is working best for this particular audience. Well, I hope that's been helpful for you. I'd encourage you to get inside of Power Editor, get inside of Ads Manager, play around with these tools. Remember, you're not going to break anything that can't be undone. Until you click the green purchase button, you're not spending any money. So there's no harm in going inside of these tools, playing around with them, familiarizing yourself with them. That way, when you do go to create an ad, you understand exactly how the tool set's going to work. Be sure to look at the resources below this video lesson. I've included a link to the different image dimensions that you'll need for various types of Facebook images. There's a link to the text overlay tool that we examined. I've also included a link to the Facebook ad policies and to the bit.ly tool that I use to create short URLs. Finally, there's a link for a tool called Canva that I use to build almost all my ad images. And we'll be looking at Canva in more detail in the bonus section of this course, Tools I Love and How to Use Them. I'll actually give you a complete tutorial on how to use Canva to build great Facebook images. So check out those resources and good luck building high-performing Facebook ads.